Hi, thanks for joining me. So today I want to do a vlog and talk a little bit about something I was talking with my friend on the phone about last night, which is he called up and he was just telling me about Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy. He got it from GameFly, and he was just telling me like some of the stuff he didn't like about it, and he stopped and he kind of made this observation, and he was like, I've been feeling like this about a lot of games recently, and like, he was like, I don't know, maybe I just don't like stuff as much as I used to, and it got me thinking, because I've been feeling the same way, and I kind of know where he's coming from, and I think it's a combination of issues. I think one of them is really just that, we're probably kind of jaded at this point. I think he and I both, maybe I'll just speak for myself, I've been playing games for a long time. And unlike somebody that maybe, played games in high school and then went to college and never played another game until, maybe now they're older and are just getting back into gaming, to pick up Call of Duty or something like that. I know people like that. And playing some of these newer games, they could be having a completely different experience where, they haven't played something like that before, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever. Whereas, for me, like, if I'm playing a new game, like, let's take, Killzone Shadowfall, for instance. I can't play Killzone Shadowfall and not have as a frame of reference the entire Halo series, the entire Resistance series. I've played those games, and so playing something new in that genre and sort of with that same kind of gameplay, I appreciate the new things that it brings to the table, or I appreciate the ways that that I can play something else that I just haven't gotten sick of. But if it doesn't bring that much new to the table, and I am kind of getting sick of it, then I think I'm going to have a much different reaction than other people that maybe haven't had experience playing a whole bunch of games that are like the game that you're playing. So I think it's just natural that I'm gonna be a little harder to impress with some of these new games. We were talking about these new games, and I basically had to say, look, I think in the next several years, the next 5 and 6 years when games are coming out, I think we're going to end up with more experiences like this, where we play these games that are kind of mediocre. Jadedness aside. And what really got me thinking of it is this article on Gamma Sutra that I read the other day. It was actually about Flappy Bird. And my friend and I started talking about Flappy Bird too, because that's another thing we don't understand a lot, is when these things make a whole ton of money, just boatloads and boatloads of money, and it's like, where did that money come from? Like, why? Like, how is this happening? And I think what I hit upon is that there are these really mainstream, kind of pedestrian things that that just make a ton of money because everybody needs them or buys them. So just stuff, What kind of got me thinking of it is this the YouTube video that I saw. I was watching some anime from the mid-90s that was on the Sci-Fi Channel, and somebody had posted it, and they recorded the whole thing, so it had the ads in it. And so I'm watching this anime, and then this ad comes on for, like, Sealy Posturepedic mattresses and Molson Ice. And I was just struck by how much that had nothing to do, really, with what I would assume sort of the constituent, the audience is watching anime on the Sci-Fi Channel. It doesn't have anything to do with sci-fi, or it's just sort of like this general mass market stuff. But that is like a huge market, and that's just that's what they're going to advertise to. So games like Flappy Bird, I feel like they're sort of like that light beer, or the mattress that you get, or the fact that you need paper towels or something like that. It's a mass market thing, so it's just when you're selling to that many people, you just naturally make a whole bunch of money. And maybe that's kind of a bad example, because I think, and they mentioned that in this article, that there were circumstances around that where it may have become a meme, kind of, sort of those 1 in a million things where they end up getting talked about on playgrounds and stuff like that. People watch it on YouTube, and it just generates this grassroots word of mouth kind of buzz. So that might not be the best example, but I think the product itself, the product itself was it was the efforts of one person. I mean, it's pretty amazing. Like, it almost has nothing to do with the story that I'm telling, except that I think the companies that are making mobile games are like the companies that are making light beer. And so they're going to look at a game like Flappy Bird, and they're going to say, okay, how can we turn this into a formula, repackage it as our product, and then sell it to the masses, basically. That's really how that stuff happens. Like, what's really the difference between a bunch of different brands of light beer? Certainly, you might just naturally like one versus the other just because of taste and things like that, and what you're used to or whatever. But I think that's sort of the point, is it's like they don't compete with each other about making the better beer, that's sort of the microbrewers and the craft brewers and stuff. They're trying to make like better tasting, more interesting, nuanced beers. Like that whole range of light beers, that's these big companies like posturing, and they're taking a formula that they know is going to sell, and they're packaging it differently, they're advertising it differently to the different audiences, and their distribution chains and stuff. They're taking a known, like a safe product, and they're finding like the way that they can the piece of the market that they can grab. And I really feel like that's how some of these mobile and these AAA developers and just these big game companies are looking at games. That's what they're doing, and I think that naturally is going to lead to like homogenization and just these kind of mediocre experiences. Where sure, the difference between Coors Light and Bud Light, you can argue the virtues of the two of them, but when it comes down to it, they're both bad beers, okay? And I think we're seeing games like that. Maybe I'm going a little too far with it, but I think in the ensuing years, even games that seem like they're going to be really targeted to me, like a game that I would naturally really enjoy, I think more and more I'm going to find that those are hit or miss. I don't know that I'm going to be able to rely on a game that looks like it's something I'm going to like, that isn't going to be a pretty mediocre, watered down kind of experience. That is not to say that I'm not hopeful about the future, because I am. I'm pretty excited. I was happy to get a PS4. I have a Vita and I'm loving it. I've got the 3DS. I'm on board with this gen, and there's going to be great experiences and great games to play. But I just think, what my friend and I are bumping up against is that, we're wanting to play some of these big, releases of these AAA games and various things, and I think, I think we're both finding a lot of experiences where we're just like, yeah, that was okay. Not, oh, that really blew my mind. Oh, that was really amazing. So, anyway, thank you very much for joining me. I hope that was interesting in some respect, and I hope you'll join me again for more video game related videos. Thanks for watching.